fair, they suck. Like just they. Do I think if Turbo got or Nidalgren got the proper Eclipse proc right on pull with a 10-second 15% damage increase with Lust and every other cooldown they have going could do 30k? Yes. Yes, I do. Because they're if they get their crit proc at the start like they try to, they boost the 15k easily. Like there's some PTR testing that I saw Boomkins doing 15k on pull because they got their Eclipse proc with 50% chance or 40% chance crit on Starfire, and that hits for 16, 17k when they're in Bis gear. Our Warlocks can't even do fucking 2k DPS half the time. So that's why that argument happened in the first place. It should 100% go to a Warlock no matter what, hands down, at the start of every fight. The problem is our Warlocks just are not that good. Like, they're just not good.
But they're 74 and 80 parsing Warlocks?
Yeah, but it doesn't change it that drastically that they're going to go from 74 and 80
I'm just saying, you're saying they're, like, terrible Warlocks. I'm just putting the actual... what they are. They're 74 and 80 parsing.
Yeah, so when I say terrible, it's because Tara says they're terrible. I think they're fine.
Relative to our
relative
raid,
to all of our other DPS in the raid. Right, they're terrible to our DPS. Yeah.
Hold on.
I think there's an argument for sure that like even a 50 parsing Warlock would get more value out of a Trix than like, I don't know, 80 plus parsing any other class.
On pull, depending on who you're giving it to.
Just the pull.
On pull, it depends on who you're giving it to. There's a very big value in it, but if the Warlock can't keep corruption up, it loses that value.
Right, but it's not like they can lose corruption.
You can't lose corruption if you do your rotation. Yes, you're absolutely right.
If you hit Shadow Bolt or Haunt or Drain Soul.
Oh, you can't hear us. It's all the same.
Doing that every.
Well, so again, the term here is good Warlock.
Well, like look at the rotation. Are they dropping it?
Yeah, we've seen them actually cast corruption multiple times on almost every fight with those two.
My bad,
Well, I think what they're doing is they're re-snapshotting at 35% or 25%.
I don't know if they're re-snapshotting it or not. I don't know what they have for their macros, but they are.
I think that's when they're doing it.
And they don't get tricks during that time, so they're losing 15% damage already on top of it.
Well, they weren't getting that to begin with.
Well, they were for a while, and then we stopped. Right?
Yeah, Hobart's casting it at like at the execution.
Yeah. So if we like,
which makes sense because he's not getting tricks.
All right, chat.
Let's look at Lockjaw because Hobart's logs for some reason keep putting him as Affliction, even though he's demo in a couple of these fights. But if we look at like, again, I like Patchwork just because it's literally can you do your rotation. So on Patchwork for Lockjaw, if you look at his highest parsing one that he has, just the most amount of DPS he's performed, he did 7,100. Adding 255 to that number, putting him at, let's say, 7,400, 7,500. Let me share my screen just so you guys can see it. Is huge. I'm for sure saying that's big, but again, it's the question's whether or not he has dropped corruption. So he's casting it a second time under the, I'm assuming the 35 part here. So.
I am a demo log.
Well, no, he recast it down here at the end of the fight.
Okay. I'm looking at last week's.
My guess is it might have dropped off. Well, he wasn't getting anything. So again, if you look at like damage done,
because I perform in our raid, I got tricks, but all
which damage is corruption do?
Yeah. So
this is this the same? Oh, this is Lockjaw. What week is this?
This is Lockjaw's best damage DPS ever on any
November
patch
9th.
we've done. Yeah. So this is the highest number he has ever pulled off on Patchwork. That's this number.
I'm looking at this.
So again, if you look at the corruption here, all through the time here, the corruption. And again, this is where I'm not entirely confident on how corruption really implies and how it's used throughout the actual damaging ability, because it should be on a set thing. I don't know if the snapshotting, once it's snapshot on there, all your haste and everything, if it's considered external at that point, and it doesn't impact it.
Right. So haste only benefits it when
it's cast.
When it's on you, right? But it doesn't roll over.
Oh, shit.
The things that roll over are crit
shit all over
and percentage buffs.
Yeah, so if we look at just corruption, the ability just corrupt.
I'm so stupid.
And we
Chat,
break
can
that
you
all
see?
down right here, right?
Can
So
you see, chat?
this is his flat
Oh.
part, how much damage he
Oh.
does on a normal piece, I'm
It's
assuming, without like
all
a
over
crit,
me,
right? So a
chat.
crit
I
comes
messed
in.
up.
If
I
he
made a
gets
grave
spell power,
mistake.
does that increase
I
the
made a grave
corruption's
mistake.
damage as well?
Oh God.
Yeah, that gets
It's not on
snapshotted.
the keyboard.
No,
chat.
but
Don't
not
worry.
snapshot. I'm
I just
saying
got
once
this
he's
keyboard.
applied
Luckily,
corruption
it's
at
safe.
the 0 mark here,
Shit.
any additional increase to his spell power doesn't go into corruption, correct?
Shiitake mushrooms.
Like he's
guess,
not
but
going to
like, but you're tapping, and well, if you're a orc, you're gonna be popping your racial and getting as much spell power as you can
on
for
the initial. Right.
But you don't get any additional.
Yeah, once the initial is done and he keeps it running the whole fight, if he pops a haste pot like down here at the end, it doesn't impact the corruption on that haste pot unless he reapplies
I
corruption.
think
right?
it does apply.
It's dynamic.
Yeah. So when you do the next, so you pop haste pot. As soon as you do Shadow Bolt, Haunt,
Well,
or
if it's
Drain
dynamic,
Soul,
then
then that section will be affected by haste. And then as soon as haste is off, and then another Shadow Bolt hits, then it'll reset.
All right,
So that's the dynamic version, or the dynamic parts of.
I need to understand, because what you're saying doesn't make sense for dynamic versus static. Dynamic means that it's going to change based on your character sheet every single time your character sheet changes, which means it does not
only when you reapply it.
Exactly.
Right. So there it's not dynamic. It's static from the time that you apply it.
It's pretty dynamic.
Haste and crit affect it dynamically.
Oh no, crit is rollover static.
So all right. So hold on. So on your character sheet, because I think we're talking the same thing, but the word you guys are using it doesn't.
It's character sheet, but only when you reapply it via those 3 abilities.
Right. So it's snapshotting, which means it is static, like a gargoyle is for a DK.
But it's different, right? Because the snapshotting at the beginning is different than that snapshot later down. So if you snapshot a really high crit, no matter what, that crit will always be up there, no matter if your crit falls down or whatnot.
But your haste gets snapshot.
But your haste is different. Yeah, your haste gets snapshotted each time it gets reapplied.
Right. So again, I don't care about the crit side of it. I'm just looking at it from the initial snapshot. When it goes out, your damage should be cyclic then.
Right. No, but there's 2 types of snapshots, right? There's like the full length, like when even if you reapply it with a lower crit, you'll still keep the higher crit.
Yeah,
and
no,
then there's the snapshot with haste, which is different.
I'm talking about when he has all of these buffs going here at the beginning outside of crit, all of these buffs matter when the initial one comes in. So he's not going to get more spell power. So unless he shoots over the spell power that he already has, his spell power will not impact the corruption until he recasts it then.
Right, for spell power and haste.
Right. That's my point, right? So the crit, I don't care about that because again, it's very different when you're talking about dynamic versus static on the abilities because this is what you see.
I've got ramen
so
all
the
over
15%, the 15% damage from tricks of the trade is where you'll impact it in here. The part that I was pointing out and why I was asking whether it's static or dynamic is that this broke 3k DPS, and we never break that again. Right,
because of haste.
Twice within the bloodlust section, but bloodlust was technically applied during the time that it was corruption was applied, so that haste should have remained with it.
No, not. But as soon as you lose lust, and as soon as you lose any sort of extra haste procs like gloves,
haste is dynamic then. Haste is dynamic.
If that's what you want to call it.
Well, no, that means it changes as yours changes. So if your character sheet chose 40% haste, then your corruption gets 40% haste. The moment your character sheet goes back to 20, your corruption gets 20. It's dynamically tied to your character sheet.
But that's not quite true. It's sure when your character sheet changes, but when you apply a Shadow Bolt, Haunt, or Drain Soul, that will then relook at your character sheet and dynamically update it.
It's dynamic in the regards that it goes back and forth with your character sheet from the stuff like that. It's not static in the sense that once I apply it, it never changes. That's static, right? Dynamic means it can change based on my character. Yeah, because my gargoyle, for example, is completely static. Every buff I possibly have is what my gargoyle gets. So if my gargoyle was dynamic, I would never lose to anybody in terms of having my snapshot because my gargoyle would get my Fallen Crusader proc, right?
Real quick, what are we debating? That the haste is a variable as to who it's going to be?
No. I was asking the question because when you look at the actual overall damage that they get from corruption itself from a warlock, it is very big at the initial part. After that, it doesn't matter. The reason why we haven't been giving it to our warlocks is because when you look at their overall damage that their corruption applies, it doesn't necessarily benefit them as much because they're just not doing as much damage with their corruption.
Right, but it's pretty fair to say that 15% more damage for that whole 2,000 is literally an extra 31,000 more damage.
The longer the fight goes, the more value it's going to receive.
Well,
Anyways,
no. Well, the value stays the same though, right? It's a static value because it's DPS. So that DPS is what you're
sure, the
getting.
DPS is static, but the overall is changing.
Right. The overall is going to go up because you added longer time frame for your DPS. So your DPS will stay static. So that
I'm thinking though, like we should be tricksing our locks off the rip if we're not needing to tricks into the tank. Like we're losing there's 30,000 damage just on Patrick alone per those two tricks that we're not handing.
Right, and this is something we brought up before, but the problem that we run into is that you see a big difference between like where these guys are sitting for damage versus these guys. I don't know if he got tricks on this one. I haven't gone through to look at what his buffs were for it to see if he actually got tricks or not. But this is where our argument started at the beginning. Our warlocks were just doing garbage numbers.
Well, I think like even if it is like a 60 parsing warlock, I think the value of tricksing him off the get-go would still outperform anybody's damage, anybody's 10-second bit of damage.
It's common sense, gentlemen. What's a 15-second buff as opposed to a 1-minute buff, a 2-minute buff, a 6-minute buff?
Yeah.
It's gonna be best for the
our argument was whether or not they get the crits here, because your max crit on Turbo with a 16k times 15, if he gets 4 or 5 of those in a row while he has tricks of the trade up, it's going to do about the same amount of damage as your Lockjaw does.
Right, and we're only talking corruption. Like they've got Shadow Bolts, they've got Haunts that are also being snapshotted a smaller length because it's not getting rolled over, but to me it's absolutely clear that no matter what, even if it's like a 50 or 60 parsing lock, that it's free damage.
Technically, yes.
I'm with you on it. At the end of the day,
grab any 10-second DPS of any DPS and like try and find around 30 damage, I guess. Right? That would be the counter.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when you're looking at it right here at the beginning of the fight,
scrub for 10 seconds, right? Like.
Yeah, like again, that's what I was saying. You could just take the number of damage they have and multiply it by the cast. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, but if you take 16k or even 14.5k, because again, they get extra crit with all these. You could do the average here, but it gets really messy further down. Boomkins with their aura get an extra 40% crit, and this is what we talked about before. If I'm hitting for 14,000 times 15%,
I want peace and
that's going to add in 1,400 damage roughly.
Yeah, but you're going to need like 6 Starfires. And
we need turmoil.
They're like a second and a half cast.
A little bit of excitement
because of how fast it goes. And every time they crit, they take off an additional half second. So at this beginning of the pull here, they're popping everything. So Nature's Grace takes off additional time frame or everything. Bloodlust is up at the beginning as well too. That 40% crit. And again, this is assuming they get the 40% crit.
Highlight a 10-second segment and see what the actual DPS outcome is, or the full outcome.
This is where they were. So the full outcome between 8 and 18. Let's do.
I found out.
I mean, I could cherry pick it, but we'll do like right.
And
right. So the overall DPS, overall damage is 145k. Times that by your 15.
If I did,
and that's what you're going to get in terms of just giving it to him off the rip.
Right, and what I'm trying to explain is that's not even close to 30,000.
Well, the 30,000 was a high estimate on.
No, that's the lowest. That's Patchwork.
How am I ever going to be?
That was 30,000. That was 30,000 on Patchwork with a high estimate on the Warlock's best one. I just pulled Turbo from the same log. I don't know if this is Turbo's best one.
Sure, but just
so
like
if we want to argue apples to apples, I gotta go Turbo's best.
We're looking at like 17,000 damage from that trick's about, right? So
this right here would be 21,000 if we did it. It's 15% over 145k. That's 21,000. If we go back to Lockjaw, his total,
22, yeah.
Right. If we go to Lockjaw's total and we're talking corruption, you'd be looking at reset the zone 20,000 or 208 times your 15.
Right, and then plus the other abilities during the 10 seconds.
Right, you'd be looking at the 31,000 from this best one right here with whatever else he casted in that time frame, assuming he actually casted anything. The unstable would only be for a small portion, so that wouldn't count his agony would be a small portion as well. But they're not in the thousands. They're not in the tens of thousands. They're more like maybe 1 or 2.
Probably everything else is like a 5,000 damage, I would guess.
I don't know if I would put it at that full amount because again,
I mean my tricks on Terror kind of like that are just randomly thrown out are like 7,000 ish.
Well, you'd be looking at it this way, where he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the dots here. The dots don't hit as hard as you think they do. So all of his initial stuff on here is really kind of from 1, 2, maybe 3 Shadow Bolts. So it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not a full 5. So that's why I'm just trying to be careful in saying it's a full 5 because that would put it to like 36,000, and I think that's a little too high for it.
I mean,
I think
I'll
it's closer to
compromise with
maybe, like,
34,000 if you want.
yeah, I would say it's a little bit lower. But if we look at like Turbo, and again, I'm just pulling random people. I don't really know what
Yeah,
their
for
numbers
sure. I haven't looked at it yet. Turbo Milk.
La leche. La leche.
So like again, if we take his highest parsing one
Like,
here,
find his best 10 seconds, basically.
well, we're just gonna take whatever his highest parsing one is, which is this.
Oh, can I
I'm not
show
gonna go
you
through that
guys
mention of
my
them to look at
Discord
it, but
screen? Is that a thing?
and again, if
Hold on,
you
chat.
have to, again, we have to kind of time it in a weird spot here because his opener doesn't start that
Oh.
fast, and that's why I said it's kind of weird when they pop it in.
Add? Where do
So
I
if you take
add?
the 10 seconds here, that's 4 to 14. So right here. So we did
Browser.
134,000, and I bet if we back it out just a half a step, we'll get an extra 13k crit
Window
from
capture.
the
Sure,
subbar.
call it 150 if you like.
So yeah, and again, it's not going to hit the
Display
36. I'm with you on this one, but this is just one example to show you that this is why we switched it over.
Which display?
Yeah, I just think we were wrong, and we should go back.
Again, I don't think we're wrong because Warlocks shouldn't be benefited, and we shouldn't be increasing their parse when they suck.
I mean, it
Like that was the whole
hardly-
reason why we
What did
removed
I
them.
do here?
They were doing so bad. Like again, this is where we
Okay,
had this
but
discussion.
if we're just talking about damage for the raid, I don't care about if we're helping or not helping anybody. If we wanted to get more damage out of our raid,
We're back, chat.
would you agree or disagree that we should be trixing the Warlocks?
Well, this is so again, you have to look at where their damage was within the assessment that we were doing. If we're talking a good Warlock, yes, 100%.
We're talking our Warlocks.
Yeah, so if we take Lockjaw and, or which one's this is Lockjaw, right? So if we take Lockjaw and his worst parse, right, the one that he did the lowest on, which is when we have these
Our
discussions.
first raid. Yeah, okay.
Well, is that the first raid? Let's take the third raid. I don't care which raid you want to take. Which one?
Well, it's just
It doesn't matter which one. We take
an average raid.
Let's take this one right here. This is like 6 weeks in.
I'm good with that one.
Right, so 6,400, and we look at his damage done. And this is where the discussions were coming. It's only 189k. So again, it's dropping depending on how well they are.
That's 12k lower than the one we were previously looking at, right? Like it's
right. It's gonna be low. If you're talking pure overall damage, yes, Warlocks will give the most. The reason why we talked about switching it off is because when we were looking at their numbers, they weren't able to keep the full cast up on corruption the entire time. Hobar is probably a better one to look at for that one. They were dropping off on the logs we were looking at. What exact log that is, I'm not going to go back and check it for them, but they were dropping off, and we had times where they had.
I don't know if I remember actually seeing it drop off, like hard drop off, like really negligent.
No, we had one on Hobar for sure.
That's Demo there. But
yeah,
anyways, I think we should definitely be trixing the AFs. After getting back into it.
All of his shop is that. So if we look at, let's do like this one. This one may not have fallen off, but we'll look. So he cast it twice.
Man, for whatever reason, chat, whenever I turn on the stream, I just
when we were looking before, we had one where he dropped off several times because we looked at the number of casts he had, and he had like 4 or 5. 3 on this one, so he would have lost it on this one, so that damage would have fallen off.
Sorry about that, chat. Whenever I stretch,
right, so the moment that it falls off, we would have been in a weird spot. So he might have recast it twice. Let me see.
Yeah, there's probably some raid where we can find him dropping it.
And that was part of our discussion when we had the original discussion on this.
Assuming we have our locks, and I just hit a target dummy for a while, it's like something else has to be going on for you to drop corruption. It's like that brain dead.
I mean, that we've been talking about this for months now, and this is why we took.
Not for months. We talked about it a month ago, and we're bringing it back up.
No. Sorry, you didn't. Let me finish. We talked about a month now to remove our locks because they were bad. That was why we had the discussion of removing them from Tricks of the Trade, is because they were bad, and we didn't want to have to keep awarding or rewarding people for being bad. And we said, okay, let's give someone else a chance to parse. Then we found out that Tricks is actually not counted into their damage.
I mean, Tricks I've always known Tricks doesn't count for parse.
I didn't. That was news to me until like a few weeks ago when you pointed that out. I had no idea that did that. So again, if we want to give it back to the locks, that's fine. But I mean, I don't really give a fuck either way. I'm just pointing out that that's why we switched them off. It is because they were doing really bad numbers. They weren't able to keep up with everything, and on top of that, they were letting it drop off on a few of the polls or a few of the logs that we were looking at across the board. And again, that's just patchwork versus every other fight.
I think at this point in time, it only makes sense to have them get it again, especially the first one. You could definitely argue
There's no
subsequent
argument.
ones.
It's choose who you want to get it, because again, I don't see value in doing tricks 100 times, but that's just me. I don't think
Sure.
using it on cooldowns is a bright idea for everybody to be doing.
Right.
Because then you got to
Okay.
worry about positioning.
I mean, I'm only really talking about the first tricks at this point.
Yeah,
right,
initial
that-
trick, throw it to him
that-
if you want. I think that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Cool,
still think our
cool,
locks are
cool.
bad, and if we're replacing them, we need to replace them. But that's why we had those discussions.
Oh, and
before.
we're kind of working on that too.
Yeah, we
We've
had
got
those discussions
options.
before that we were dropping them, so we didn't want to
Yep.
go through and give them that shit. So that's why all that went down that way.
Well, that wasn't the reason we weren't giving locks. We just decided that they were not. It was a conscious choice. Those two weren't connected at all.
The conscious choice was they're doing really shitty numbers. Let's go look at someone else that's pumping twice the numbers DPS they're doing, and let's give it to them. Because like I think Cold Bay was like at one point we were looking at Cold Bay and he did 30,000 DPS for like 6 or 7 or 8 to 10 seconds or something like that. And it's like, well, 15% of 30,000 over 10 seconds is far greater than Lockjaw dropping corruption. That was part of the whole discussion. Again, we looked at Turbo right there. Turbo may have been the worst one to do, which is why we talked about
Could have
Cold
been.
Bay and Scoob, right? They were hitting 30k DPS on a few fights because we were discussing around how DKs or unholy DKs like sustain 30 or 40,000 for a little bit, not 30, 25 or 30,000 for a little bit. And we found that like arcane mages were shooting way the fuck up there too. So that's why we switched it over to those, and then somehow it went to melee and it went to me for some reason, which was a bad idea. And then I don't even know if it ever actually went to Turbo or Scoob at all on any of them.
Why did it go to you? Did someone
I don't
advocate
fucking
for
know.
you?
I didn't advocate for it. That was a bad idea. I don't know who assigned stuff on those, but it went to me on a couple of them. That was not a good idea. DKs don't have unholy does not do like unless you're trixing my
would I get a
gargoyle, which is a
tricks,
meme in
chat?
my opinion.
Why would
I
I
don't even know if
get
it works
tricks?
on tricks of the gargoyle, but unless you're trixing the gargoyle, my damage doesn't do shit. That's why we're looking to switch off of it. My gargoyle is my damage. Like that's where the abilities all come in. So my sustained and normal rotation is only like 7-8k, and that's it.
Well,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I'm down to
Yeah.
give it to the Aflox. Now, I don't know how much it would help their parse, but it would affect their actual parse a bit too.
But again, is it going to bring them up to a 99 to where we're not going to replace
Well,
them?
it's not. I don't really care how much it affects their parse. I only care about making our rate damage higher.
Yeah.
It's Nax, so I don't care enough about Nax, so it's all
Right,
good.
but like knowing this, and like if we didn't know this going into Old War, like that's even more cringe with how long those fights are gonna be. Right? It's just like
Well, we've always said put it
We
on
almost-
warlocks.
we-
We've always put it on warlocks that are good.
right, but like it took me having to go Aflock for it to be brought up when it should have just been half decent Aflocks being like, dude, where's my tricks? That's what it just should have been, you know.
Well, I mean, again, I'm indifferent because the fights are so short. We can't really see the full duration of how strong it is, right? Because if the fights are shorter, you're going to get more value out of like a boomkin on a 1-minute fight than
We
you
all
will an
voted on this
Aflock.
once upon a time, chat.
Right, that was part of our discussion as well.
And-
Patchwork just happens to be the one I like to look at, but if you go to like Thaddeus is probably a
I
good
was
one. KT is a
outvoted.
good one
The
for
vote
Yeah,
like,
landed
like
in
Thaddeus
over 4 minutes
You could
and
probably
like
before the
Nother
meta.
Lotheb.
Hagen?
Oh my goodness, like
if you talk
Lotheb
Nother
is.
Hagen though,
But the meta is
Yeah,
warlocks
Nother Hagen-
get
Yeah, I
pushed
mean,
off.
yeah.
No.
There's a
Don't
lot
make
of like really short fights that it's
And
going
we
to be
had
a lot
we had
less
a lot of those.
beneficial.
Yeah, we had a lot of those discussions, and again, I think if we have good Aflocks, then it's fine putting it on them. But again, I wouldn't. We have to realize that their parse is going to be significantly higher with that, and it's going to look more like they're doing astronomically high numbers when we start trixing them on pull like that.
I'm not sure
I'd
exactly
argue most
how the
Aflocks
rollover
have.
of corruption and how if that actually all goes into the tricks character on Warcraft
Well, it
logs.
does
Or
because none of it shows up on the any of them. So if you look at like Alondo, he got tricks on his, and it doesn't show up as them getting like an extra 40,000 on their thing.
do you know if the tricks character has corruption damage on it? Because that'd be the for sure way to know.
Some did, I think, which was during the time frame. So if we look at like Patchwork number 1,
Yeah, just look up
Alon-
Alondo and
so
then
tricks on
look
Galley,
at
which is the number 1 guy right now.
and
his-
just see if that. Can you share your screen?
Yep. They actually only tricks once, and it was Shadowbolt, Curse of Agony, and Haunt.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And how much damage did the curse? Oh, here we go.
I don't know if you're on the screen or not. Hold
I am now on it. So, now
on.
it's
I can't do screen. I have to do application instead of screen because
So-
my work is up. So it should show it. So if you're looking at Galley, he's the one that is their number 1.
and then
they
look at
fixed.
tricks at the bottom. No, just go back.
I want to see who they're buffing if they're actually giving it. So if you look at damage at here at the bottom, it's to a warlock, but that doesn't mean anything for me right now because it may have gone to this guy. It might have gone to this guy. I want to make sure that it went to Galley. Yeah, so but
Sure. I mean, they have one warlock in, right?
no, they have 3.
Okay.
They have Galley, Faldos, and Cybor.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure it's going to the right lock at the right time for it. So first tricks of the trade was this guy. So Galley got it at the beginning.
Okay. Cool. And then just let's look at the tricks character.
And if you look at damage done, tricks character, corruption is not on there. So again, the corruption is being built into their additional damage that they're doing with it.
All right, I gotta.
Dang.
is
So
why-
that really would help. That would
It
really
would
help
increase
a
it.
parse.
It would artificially inflate their parses, which is again fine if we want to do that. But like again, you're talking
The top all the top locks, if you want to parse, are
for
gonna
sure,
have
for
tricks.
sure. But like this guy didn't get tricks and he got 95s, right? So again, there's a big difference between.
He's also
Parse-
doing 2,000 less damage than holy shit.
Yeah, I mean he's doing significantly less. So
Wait,
also
click
item
on
level
click on that
206.
tricks guy. Click on
hold
the
on.
first. I want to see his
Hold on.
damage profile.
This one?
Yeah, I just want to see how where his damage is.
I mean, he spikes up here. This is when they start getting the additional shit coming in.
It's
So
a
all the
minute
execute
45 fight.
phase, execute phase is right around here. So if we do resources HP on
It was only still like a 200. Well, his
Patrick
corruption
Patrick
did
enters,
like 225,000, and it was about a 15
his
second
execute
shorter
phase is
fight
right
too.
around
So
a 1 minute here.
damn, cool.
Well,
All right, I've
that's what I'm
reassigned
saying,
tricks for the opener then.
That's why we said before, like it just doesn't make sense to give it to a warlock that's just doing shit for numbers because our mages would have been a higher number overall. But now that the locks are actually pulling up higher numbers, it makes more sense to give it back to them. A DPSing warlock down here at the bottom doing 5 or 6k does not outperform a mage doing 9k. That was our discussion. Right? It somehow ended up getting me getting one, and it ended up with I think Colbay getting one, but Scoob never got one, and then Turbo had one at one
I think
point.
Scoob and Turbo were together 1 week. I think.
I have no idea. I don't look at the tricks assignments, but that's why we had that discussion is because there's a big difference between doing 9k DPS and doing 5k DPS when you're looking at 15% increase. That was why we had that discussion. If our warlocks were here at this guy's level at 78,000 the entire time, it makes sense here. I mean, his corruption still did 176,000, right? It's not as high as the first dude, but it's still 76,000 at a 205 item level. So this is where we had the problem with our warlocks. This dude's a 206, sorry, not 205, 206 item level, and he still did 95 parsing at almost 8k. He's outperformed all of our locks so far with the exception of Terror. That's why we had a problem with Lockjaw and Hobart getting corruption or whatever tricks, and why we were looking at giving it to a mage.
And this is a fundamental truth. Our warlocks are not 90. Our aflocks are not 99 parsing aflocks.
Right. And the discussion was instead of looking at the meta for those guys specifically, because we wanted to look at the raw numbers, they were really down here towards this 6 and 5 range when we were having this discussion.
No, I understand our previous mentality. You know, we ultimately went with performance over the meta, but now we see that the meta is just
well, the meta will make sense for longer fights if our warlocks don't lose corruption.
Correct.
Yes.
If they let their fucking snapshot fall off, that is the cringiest fucking shit.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's, again, we're talking Lockjaw and Hobart here, which, again, if we have other people coming, that's fine. But I'm talking specifically our current warlocks. If you're talking those two guys, it's going to fall off. It's 100% it's going to fall off. Like, we're expecting them to move on a fight while keeping their shit
I don't think
up.
that's true. I don't think that's true.
I think it's going to fall off.
You think it's going to fall off?
Well, let's see what boss is
refreshed
movable
automatically. It's cringe.
if they're attacking within the time frame that it's there, right? So
Yeah,
again,
Right. So you're talking about 16 seconds to do a Shadow Bolt, a Haunt, or a Drain Soul.
Yeah.
and we're
I
talking
think-
Lockjaw and Hobart here.
Right. They're not. Yes, they're the lowest in our raid, but they're not brain dead.
Like, well, again, this is where I'm going to pull up what we saw last week, right? So this one,
Rubber pull up.
Probably.
Jeez.
This is where we're talking with a 95% uptime on both of them. They did this number here, right?
Sure.
The question is, why were they so low on this one? I don't know. They cast it one time, so he actually didn't let it drop off, which is good here. But his DPS was still dog shit for some reason. And then
Probably
Homewar,
that could have easily been
Homewar cast it 4
like,
times. So
if I remember correctly, I think Chirp dropped a puddle in the middle of the range on that fight.
Hold on,
Yeah,
sure. I
but-
have a question because you were reading up on this. So they don't have to refresh their corruption when their ability refreshes it. It updates it with the new spell power, like their maximum coefficient.
I think it's spell power and haste gets updated per hit.
Damn,
Let's
so they
find
don't
out.
actually have to time a snapshot. It'll dynamically increase into it.
Yeah, so the snapshot you're timing against, I believe,
is-
is based off your tricks.
which
That's
is-
the one that you're doing.
Yeah, but that
Go
would
do
be
rotations.
if it's 3.
The talk is in rotation,
There it is. So, all right, so here it is.
and it's they don't really
Snapshot
so-
right here.
right.
Things like
Snapshot,
spell power,
rollover,
haste,
and dynamic.
are calculated at the initial cast / reapplication / refresh of a channeled or damage over time
Right.
spell.
So snapshot is like an overarching term because it has 2 parts to it. There's the
It's
'cause
not
the-
the same. It's definitely not the same as
gargoyle snapshot.
as Gargoyle Snapshot. Gargoyle Snapshot is I take my highest stat abilities at the time I cast my spell. That is the snapshot of that
Yours
spell.
requires skill
Yep.
and precision.
Mine requires RNG a lot more than that, but yes, skill and precision on it. Whereas if this one is automatically updated,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say our
no
warlocks
skill.
are even worse.
No
I haven't actually
skill.
read all of this yet, but this is sounding worse and worse.
No skill at all. Oh.
Okay, so crit rating and internal modifiers, buffs or debuffs on the player increase damage rollover. This also means that the initial snapshot does not get overwritten with new refreshes from this, but only if corruption is manually reapplied.
Right.
Dynamic modifiers, so
These would be like if you had a curse of weakness that was applied late, for instance, you could have your next shadow bolt get that to dynamically add on, for instance. Only debuffs, not personal buffs. That's the caveat that is important.
So again, this is the part that's funny here is they don't actually need tricks of the trade on pull. They just need tricks of the trade early on in the fight, based on what this says.
Well, you're gonna be hitting. You're gonna no. That's a
No, right here.
debuff.
Manage if a damaging percent debuff gets applied.
Right,
No,
that's not
right,
you.
Yep, that's the wrong one. Oh shit. Yep, that's the wrong one. So hold on.
It's the snapshot part.
Yep, I want to read a little bit more down here.
If you control F tricks, you'll find exactly where they talk about it. There.
Yeah, I was looking for something.
'Cause they have the T10 thing that also gives them a 10% buff that you also want to apply early on too.
Lock life, bitches. So we're gonna go with 5 warlocks now? Just kidding.
I'm gonna need a Jordy have.
Jordy
Wonder what the
had like
meta
6.
is.
Hey, the meta is 6. Every hard mode video that I'm watching is like 6. Not exaggerating. It's kind of cringe. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
that's
Devious Minds and Tricks of the Trade work the same way.
I don't know what Devious Minds is.
It's a tier 10 proc. Gives you 10% damage off your unstable affliction, I believe.
That's cringe to think that it just works like that. So no matter what, corruption just snowballs itself into its strongest form possible.
No, so this is funny though. So if we didn't get a corruption with either tricks or the devious minds, it is worth to reapply it at 35% for Death's Embrace.
Right.
In case you did get this, but also have it when Dis is up as well. So if they don't have tricks of the trade up within Death Embrace, they shouldn't be reapplying corruption.
Sure.
Is what this is saying, which is also kind of interesting to me as well. I don't think we're reapplying tricks at 35% to those guys. So
That
they're
is
probably actually
interesting.
hurting. They're probably actually hurting their own corruption damage by doing it that way.
Well, we're not giving it them at the beginning or at the end, and so at least it looked
We
like
were for a
Hobar
Yeah,
for
we
a
were
bit.
for a
But in
little-
the
yeah.
in the one that we were looking at for Hobar, where you had that second cast, if you're reapplying it at Death's Embrace time,
Can you
you're doing the right thing.
copy that and paste it into the lock channel? That is a great.
I will let you gladly do that. I will send you the link. I'm not posting for other classes like that.
Just send it to me. Send it to me.
People get really upset.
Nah,
when you do
are you
that.
kidding me? Our Aflock's fucking been going 3 months, 4 months without tricks, and they don't
There you go.
care.
There you go.
Right.
I sent it to you. So there's that. So again, I'm fine if we want to give it to him. I just think our locks are not that great outside of Terror. So if we're going to be giving it to Hobar and Lockjaw, the question's whether or not it's going to be able to keep up the whole time. They've gotten better for sure. They definitely have gotten better than where they were before. But if we're looking at replacing them, I don't know if I would be that worried about tricks right now.
I think it'd also be good to get into the habit if we do replace them. Like,
But if we're replacing them, I would get in the habit with the new guys. I wouldn't worry about it right now because it's just snacks. It doesn't. It's a macro for most people.
yeah, I mean, Nax is prep for Old War in whatever way we want to prep. I think doing this change now is a good idea. It's better to do this now than to try
And
and
that's
get our.
assuming anybody actually even tries anymore in Nax. That's going to be part of the issue. I think a lot of our runs have been kind of a little bit lackluster.
I think this next run's gonna be good. Trying
I have
out
no idea, but I'm
a
just
new
saying, like,
Pally tank and a new Warlock should be interesting.
we've been this was our last run. We had no 99s. We had one. we had one here. Everybody else was down in the purples last week. So again, I'm not saying that it's important to do. I think for Old War, 100%, we should make that a requirement. I'm with you on it, but I think for Nax, I'm just trying to make sure people stay online to raid.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
all.
we're just prepping for Old War at this point, and we'll
Okay.
have like a release. We'll have a try hard run at some point near the end. See how good we can do. Anyways, good chat. I got to get back to work.
Later, fellas.
Later.
No problem. I got to get back to work as well. Bye.
Well, chat. Today we learned something new. At the end of the day, I just want to follow the meta. Trust me, there's like borderline sociopaths that are like close to genius level IQ that have done some crazy ass calculations with most variables considered, if not all. So, a lot of the time trying to rewrite the meta, while honorable as it may be, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So what am I doing? I'm posting this for Warlocks. Which, by the way, I am a Warlock. I am a Demo Lock, but there we go. There we go. GG. Done and done. Oh, chat. Chat, chat, chat. My old friends. I don't know how to check how many views we have going on, by the way, so I gotta go to twitch.com every time I want to check this, because it doesn't say it on OBS for some reason. And, like, do I have one person watching? 0 persons watching? Maybe 200? It says I have 2. I'm not clicking it because last time I did that, it started, like, reverbing all the noise. It was crazy, dude. I can't do that. What is happening with this group? This tank is stressing me out, man. Oh my. Please. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Come on, tank. Oh, you gone. No offense. Vaya con Dios. You come in. Group invite. Where the fuck is that at? I'm so slow. I shift. Yay, let's summon. You can't read my chat because my chat gets spicy in game, okay? You don't know all the types of backdoor corporate sabotage that is going on, okay? Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I gotta go fast. Laugh aloud. What? Don't worry, Spicy Deluxe. We're chilling. We're chilling here. Chilling like a villain. Hey, Rose. We did some math and some tricks. Magic is Talindra and then Dark Lord. don't even get an opening tricks, man. My life is horrible. I'm on luck. Oh, you could have summoned this whole time, dude. Okay, chat. This is gonna be a little different. Now it's just you and me. Don't worry. We're here to party. There's a few things I want to incorporate into this production. The first one would be probably like some music, you know. I don't know how to really figure all that out. But we need to get some like Pandora playing in the background. I need some R&B in my life. What else do we need around here? I would like that text-to-speech stuff. So I gotta check that out. Like, just so people could talk to me. And then I'm not so bored and alone. That'd be chill. And what else? I guess I could go for like a screen lay thing. I don't know though, chat. That might just be too much. That might just be a little too much. You know what I'm saying, chat? Where is my... What the fuck? Did they all pull? Damn, chat. Holy shit. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've got a lot of trash on my desk, chat. It's chill. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're leveling the rogue life because it was meant for me. Honestly, chat, rogues are super boring. Yeah, they're OP as fuck. Yeah, they think they're all this shit because they have 24 fucking CDs they can use and then reset them all. But at the end of the day, it's always when you play tight that you could tell the good players, okay? Rogues are too loose. They have too many backups on backups on backups. They don't have any reason to play clean and precise. They are just little disappearing bitches. You heard me, all you rogues out there. Fucking World of Warcraft fucking thieves. Anyways, outside of that, they're OP as fuck. They're OP as fuck. It's kind of fucked. But, you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Look at this right here. I'm a rogue. What? You can't tell. Pow, pow, pow. You just fucking... What was I? You couldn't even tell. I looked like a bullet. I was just like... Pow, 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 pow. Look, then I could turn into like a shadow rogue. What? I'm a shadow rogue. Fear me. It's worse because that shadow rogue, you can't even touch them when they're in like that. If you're a caster. It's horrible. Fucking OP is dick. Rogues are just so OP, chat. Look at 6-second stun. GG. I can't even think at the top of my head any other fucking class in the game that has a 6-second stun. And that's their second stun, by the way. They don't even open with that stun. They open with a 4-second stun. So stupid. Such a stupid fucking class. And at the end of it all, they're all like, GG, bro, I killed you when you were fucking doing nothing the whole fight because I controlled you with my fucking cooldowns and toolkits, bro! Shut the fuck up, rogues. Bitches. I guess one could say I have a little bit of animosity against rogues, chat. But the truth is, the real truth of this game, called World of Warcraft, of course, classic, Wrath of the Lich King, which, by the way, was one of the coolest... Which, by the way, I played Rogue during original Wrath, so here I am being a hypocrite. But whatever. That's human nature, right? I also do not like fucking Paladins. I think Paladins are a bullshit-ass class. Bullshit is a huge understatement, actually. Where Rogues are pussies by, like, being opportunistic little bitches, Paladins just don't give a fuck. They don't need to give a fuck. Paladins can just be, like... reading the fucking newspaper and walking out the front door to grab the fucking cup of joe that's delivered to them because they're super fucking billionaire rich because they're all fucking pompous pussies. But they could just run in and bubble whenever the fuck they want. They're like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, Henry. Ah, we're okay. Don't worry, Patrick. Heal. Fucking bullshit. Bubble is the... Huh. Oh man, guys. Bubble's... Yeah, Bubble's kind of a bullshit ass ability. And they also have a really long stun. Although they don't have two of them, and they don't have a 6-second one. So, to be fair, I guess they're less bullshit than rogues. Rogues are mega bullshit. Fuck. So yeah, I guess I'm complaining about the strongest classes in World of Warcraft. So if you're watching this and you need to learn what to play when playing this game, don't bother watching a fucking guide. Just listen to what people complain about, and you already know. You already fucking know. Druids, healing, bullshit. Bullshit ass healers. Holy crap. Although, caveat, Druid healing is incredibly, like, high skill oriented. If you are not a coordinated and precise individual, I probably would advise not going Resto Druid, because it's one of those, like, you have to be able to stance and handle multiple CCs for multiple specs and be pretty fluent with it all. It is a bit challenging, and even after you get used to it, like learning the timings, when's your best kill windows, and creating those opportunities, cycloning individuals who are kill targets, and it's super difficult to be a Resto Druid. It's not easy. Probably the hardest healer to play, but also one of the strongest. Resto Druids, you're bullshit. OP. You're OP, I'll admit, but bullshit. I'm sitting on this chair right now, which I don't want to disclose what it looks like or what kind of chair it is. I don't know, but my wife complains about it and says it's uncomfortable on her back, and I'm beginning to understand why. It's one of those chairs that you almost think, like, are you participating in a Hellraiser movie or something, or is this just fucking 1643? Like, what is happening with my fucking chair right now? Fuck. Oh, don't worry, chat. By the way, you will notice that my bag button in game is part of my rotation. That's how you parse 99s. You know, if anybody ever asks. Also, buffs equate to crit. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you want to parse, give yourself that water breathing buff, bro. Give yourself that detect lesser invisibility. You know what I'm saying? The more buffs you have, if you have three tiers of buff, holy crap, you're giga. You're gonna be a 100 guaranteed parsing beast of a player. So, you're welcome. That's a huge tip. These are not superstitions. These are... Okay, let me further clarify here. I haven't played World of Warcraft for quite a long time. I don't want to disclose the specific number because it's a little embarrassing. But let's just say that, again, I've been here the first time around for Wrath of the Lich King. So that gives you an estimate, at least. So I'm kind of an expert. I'm kind of an expert. I don't look like it because I'm not... Okay, I am loud in certain regards, but I'm not loud when it comes to, like, telling somebody they're wrong or something like that, because it's difficult to convince humans from what they're currently already, you know, like, convinced what is right. Because humans are stubborn and, worse, incredibly stupid, and the amount of energy it requires to convince them otherwise is fucking nauseating, dude. It's fucking nauseating. The Aflock scenario being one of them. It's like, we had this conversation before. I knew that, you know, AFs are the meta. It just kind of makes sense. But at the end of the day, when we have the majority of our raid that's performing at a 95 plus parse, and our warlocks, or specifically the Aflocks, are at a 75 to 80 range, it brought up questions amongst leadership in which we should reconsider where the tricks of the trade buff was, where it was going, basically, who was receiving the designation. And so we removed it from them, and ever since they've been crippled little children, chat. Little babies, like, without their wings, you know? Like, have you ever seen those birds on National Geographic that when they're born, the rite of passage is like falling off a mountain and breaking their necks like 20 times over and then just standing up at the end of it all? Okay, of course they don't all make it, but, you know, that's just their rite of passage. It's horrible. It's a sad story, but that's kind of what it is, chat. Just throwing yourself off a mountain. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? We clipped our little baby bird's wings, so they just... Without wings, dude, all the way down a mountain. Shit is cold world shit when you think about it. Whoa, what the fuck? See that? Whenever I start doing that, I get crazy. I just start popping off. I'll let you guys know when that shit happens, dude. It's called Blade Flurry. And this other move called Killing Spree, and I just get crazy. Wow. Oh, I use this too. Adrenaline Rush. I use it at the worst time possible, chat. Don't look. I'm taking it off. The buff does. It's not even on me. What's Adrenaline Rush? Don't worry about it, chat. I still have it. You can't even look at my bars, so the cooldown. Oh, fuck. It's right there. Fuck. Fuck. Don't worry, chat. You may or may not have caught me in an exaggerated truth. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. I have threat. Oh, crap. I'm taking. Oh, crap. Why don't I have evasion on my bars? Oh, what kind of a rogue am I? Don't worry, chat. We're going to fix this here. For all of you wondering, he doesn't even have evasion on his bars. What a noob. You know what I have to say to them? Fuck you. I'm not worried about evasion, because that's how good I am. I don't die. I don't need to evade shit. I just say, sup, bitch. And then I take it right on the chin. That's how it goes when I play games, chat. I don't fuck around. I don't play those little elusive bullshit. Alright? I go straight in for the kill and for the fucking win. Because that's the way to win, chat. What am I looking at right now? More healers? No, our group is good. I am trying to get to level... I don't know what level I'm trying to get to today. I'm doing this because there's this Joyous Journeys buff, and of course, you know, like, it's a good time to take advantage of an alt, etc., 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 and I don't know. But do I enjoy leveling, chat? That is the question. Do I enjoy it? And then what's worse is this is a different account, so it's like, oh god, am I gonna die? Oh, did I put evasion on my bar? I didn't even put evasion on my bar. But do I want to level an alt outside of a fucking 50% buff, game buff? Hell no, I don't. But also, since it's on a different account, do I want to go out into the open world and mount everywhere on my four-legged beast? Yeah, right. What sounds horrible, dude. Why would anybody want to do that? You know? Like, what? That's almost as barbaric as walking on your own two legs. Like, fucking fly, dude. There's flying in the game, man. But of course, Blizzard wants to be a little bunch of fucking cocks, motherfuckers, and cuck us with our own mounts. It's fucked up, Blizzard. But they allow alts on same accounts to fly, guys. So don't think that Blizzard's like the czar of gaming industry. Nah, they're pretty chill. They're not all fucked up. Although they make a lot of mistakes, but that happens. I shouldn't just talk shit about it, because I play the living shiitake out of their games. But I guess I can criticize still, right? Just because I love it. In fact, that probably gives me more right to criticize it than anyone. Holy shit, I just justified some sort of a complex, didn't I? Oh my goodness. Is this what happens when you start conversing with yourself? You just, like, realize that you're full of hypocrisies and that you're actually incredibly shallow fucking shell and husk of a human? Let's go. We gotta keep going, guys. Boom, 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 boom. Stuff. Which is not a button for me. I have to click it because I am using the second bar and I'm trying not to mess with the first bar. It's a very delicate situation. The Spicy Deluxe might get upset with me, and you don't want the Spicy Deluxe getting upset with you. They are scary. They are the scary. Let's go. Let's go. For all of you watching me, you're like, oh, this is so cringe. You're not even using tricks of the trade. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, chat. I know how to play Rogue, bitch. Look up Fuego. Fuego 2019. Bitch. Classic. Fuego Fairbanks. That's what's up. Represent. Fuego Nation. The problem is, I'm just chilling, chat. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. I'm just, playing the game. I guess I'm talking to myself too now, which is a new dynamic that I'm not accustomed to. But you know what? I don't hate this because I'm kind of always talking to myself, but just in my mind. And so at the very least, I get like practice utilizing my lips and tongue. That sounds sensual or dirty, but no, like your tonguing, your overall pronunciation and everything, like how you move your mouth, more experience. You need experience. That's how you become a great speaker. And I haven't spoken in quite some time, chat. It's been over 20 years since I've said a word. So now I am reborn. A new little mouth version. Virgin, not version. Fuck, I can't even speak. We have more ads. Go. I have no cooldowns for 20 whole seconds, please. Someone do something. I'm useless. Oh, I'm better than the tank for once. Holy crap. Rogue life. I'm better than the tank. This is why I have to form all my own groups, chat, because no one will let a rogue into their group, basically. Not even myself, which is super hypocritical because I am a rogue. But in my mind, that means I'm already handicapping my group enough. Or excuse me, maybe that's the correct term. Anchoring. I'm a weight on my group. I shouldn't have said that. It's stupid. But anchoring. I'm a weight my group just does not fucking need. And it's kind of cringe, but they're a rogue. I'm a fucking rogue. Useless in dungeons. And two of them would be a useless group. And so therefore that cannot exist in my fucking realm of existing. Of my dimensional universe. So yeah. I have to form my own groups and con all of these poor real humans somewhere in the world. These are real people. This is what was the coolest part about World of Warcraft when I first started playing, like all that time ago. Oh man, I'm about to sound like such an old man to you guys, but check this out, chat. When I was young, you used to go to each other's house to play games, like to hang out with your friends. You used to like pull out your Yu-Gi-Oh cards and meet up at the school library or whatever. Like you had to like actually be with each other. Yes, I played Yu-Gi-Oh at my school library. And I was a straight fucking pimp. I was a G, motherfuckers. Talk that shit, bitch. Anyways, you'd have to kick it with your homies in IRL, You'd have to, like, meet up and play Mario Party and shit, or maybe you couldn't figure out this one boss or this one level in Mario Sunshine, and you're like, yo, come through, help me out. You guys were always together, you and your friends, no matter what. Like, if you grew up in a somewhat consistent environment, your neighborhood kids always were together. Why? Because that's all you had. That's all you had. Your parents are busy as shit. And, it's within your near vicinity. It's your environment. It's your product of, right? And, yeah, we used to have to actually hang out. In fact, we used to go to a computer club in middle school. And in that computer club, I learned how to use, like, a keyboard and shit like that. Like, I didn't really have my own keyboard. Even though my mom was super into all this, I didn't have a computer like that. Like, access to one ever growing up, so I didn't get any experience, any training, whatever the fuck. Computer class came around, holy shit, this Oregon Trail game, fuego, fire, StarCraft, straight the shit, dude, the shit, Diablo, there was Guild Wars, there was, oh my goodness, dude, and then I finally found the game for me. It was called Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, and there was just something about this game, man, where you could be a specific race, and then within that race there are champions that assist your overall units, and there was just something about that game that brought out the conqueror warrior that is inside of my soul. You understand, chat? And so because of that, I just fell for it, dude. I fell for it at an early age. Blizzard hooked me young. Holy shit, cocksuckers. But that leads me into where I was getting to, right? So, like, we start playing all these online games. We start realizing that we could do this anywhere. Like, technically, you just needed internet, which was not a regular commodity. Holy shit. No one had internet. Like, not decent internet anyways. You always had, like, DSL or something. So we used to go to LAN centers all the time so we could play side by side. Anyways, after doing this for, like, a couple years, spending fucking, what was it, like, $14 a day for full day passes, which, mind you, it ran to like 4 or 5 a.m. and we would milk the living shit out of that. Anyways, a video game came out. So we had an expansion in Warcraft 3, you know, Reign of Chaos, beautiful fucking time of my life. An expansion came out, then TFT, the Frozen Throne, fire! Oh my god, Arthas, what? Which, by the way, is the expansion we're in right now, which was also the most popular expansion of all time, foreshadowing, what? Anyways, doesn't matter. Then the real game came out, which was called World of Warcraft. Yeah, you heard me, chat. They added the word world before Warcraft. Instead of the 2, the 3, they just said X-nay on the syllable Roman nay, and they said world. Check that shit out, chat. First of its kind, world. What does that mean? What does that mean? Warcraft world? What does that mean? What does that mean? There's no world games. Donkey Kong wasn't world. Banjo-Kazooie wasn't world. What in the fuck do they mean world? Conker's Bad Fur Day? You know, big maps, but not world. So what are they talking about world? In chat, when they dropped World of Warcraft, they meant it. They meant it, dude. It was a real world where you could meet up with your boys, where you could all make gnome warriors together and shit and cheese the high level mobs like Hogger because you could like stag your fucking charges and keep them stunned for a hot minute. Man, that was the world. And that's what's precious and beautiful about this game. It's unbeatable. It's unbeatable. And even if you do beat every... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hello? 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 Chat. 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 Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I got you guys back. And even if you do beat, which is highly unlikely, every achievement in WoW, the experience you walk away from this game is just... It's just insane. The people you meet along the way, the thrills, the fucking highs, the lows. It is insane. It's such a good feeling to race for a top world speed kill and to consider yourself one of the best. It's such a good feeling to parse a 100 and know that at that specific night, at that specific time, you were the strongest there will ever, or that has been, I should say, within your specific class. Like, you are the best amongst hundreds of thousands of players, that you stand above them all. There are other beautiful things about this game, chat. It's not always necessarily the most competitive. When you and your friends down dead mines for the first time and you wipe 23 times doing it, there's just something you can't replicate like that. It's gold. You and your people are inside of this game, for real. Like, these are actual real people playing this game, chat. I know all you whippersnappers, this is like, oh, everyone on Modern Warfare and Fortnite and Minecraft's a real person too, dude. Oh. Shut the fuck up. WoW was the first. Okay, that wasn't the first, but it was like the best. That was the first, okay? That's how it goes down. That's how it goes. WoW was the best of the first. And now, fucking umpteen years later and aeons past, it is still reigning king of the jungle. I was just watching an Asmongold clip where he was like fucking showing the views from classic and retail, and maybe one is like 4 or 3rd and the other one's like 7, but then when you go and make a baby, And ladies and gentlemen, WoW and Dragonflight, so Wrath of the Lich King and Dragonflight are the same fucking game. Yeah, they're 15 years apart, but they're the same fucking game. Holy shit, what is this? So never forget, okay? There's one thing you walk away learning after watching this entire time, or maybe you just skip to this particular point in the video so you're lucky because you're gonna learn the greatest wisdom you could have all day, is that World of Warcraft is unparalleled. It is unmatched. It is exquisite. It is perfect. Oh, they were asking me if I wanted to do more? I didn't even notice, chat. I was too busy talking to you. That being said, I got a ex-nay with the wife-nay. Maybe not. Maybe she doesn't even need me at all. I'm just utilizing this as an excuse to get the fuck off this chair. But I should be over and out. Never forget. World of Warcraft. It's the best game of all time. Where's my stop streaming button? It's the best game.